Yes, so let us start. In last class, as you told, that we have learned what? Means of transport already. Simple diffusion, facilitated diffusion, and active transport. What else? You had kept a cell, right? We had kept a plant cell in different types of solution. Hyper, hypo, iso. And then we had seen ki what is the condition of the cell called as? Is it called as flaccid, turgid, or plasmolysed, right? So that takes us to the process of plasmolysis. We had learned deplasmolysis, we had learned deplasmolysis, we had learned. What else we had learned? Plant water relation, plant water relation. Water potential is equal to solute potential plus pressure potential. Related to this, everything we had learned, right? Osmotic potential, osmotic pressure, turgor pressure, all these things. What else we had learned? There were so many terminologies which we had learned, like root pressure, right? Then property of water, cohesion, adhesion, right? You remember it, right? All these, surface tension, all these things we have already learned. Now we are going to use these terminologies. I had told you these are going to be used in what? In the actual transport of water in the upper part of the plant. Raj is here. Yes. All right. So now let us study about long distance transport of water. We are going to learn about long distance transport of water. We need to transport water for a longer distance. It is not for, a little distance. It is for a longer distance. Why? Because we know that the tree is going to be what? Tall, right? It is not going to be very, very small all the time. Trees are very tall also. So how are you going to take water to the upper part of the plant? Right? Is it diffusion by which you can take it? Is it diffusion by which you can take the water for a longer distance? No, no, no. Why? Because it is a very fast process, right? Right? Hmm? It's slow process, right? It's very slow process. You cannot carry the water for a longer distance by diffusion. In 2.5 seconds, it can cover 50 micrometers. 50 into 10 to the power minus 6 meter, right? Micrometer is equal to 10 to the power minus 6 meter, right? So this distance, to cover this distance, it requires 2.5 seconds. To cover this distance, it requires 2.5 seconds. You can imagine. To cover this long meters, how much time it will require. That's why diffusion is not the process by which the water can go for a longer distance. What is the solution for this, my dear? Development of vascular bundle. What is the solution for this? Vascular bundle. We know that if the transportation is done for a longer distance using vascular bundle, what do you call? What do you call? If transportation is done for a longer distance using the vascular bundle, it is called as translocation. Is that right? Yes, it is right. Vascular bundle, you know, xylem and phloem are called as the vascular bundle. Yes, you know that xylem will help in the transportation of water plus minerals, right? Water plus minerals. Phloem will help in the transportation of Sucrose plus water. Sucrose will be mixed with water. Sucrose will be mixed with water and you call it phloem sap. Phloem sap. When water is mixed with minerals, you call it xylem sap. So for now, our interest is in xylem sap, how xylem sap is getting transported. So first thing is what? Let us see that, let us assume that this is the root. If this is root, first of all, you need to reach till here. The water has to reach till here and then water will go up, right? First the root has to absorb and then it will take it to the upper part of the plant. Yes, so how does it happen? How do plants absorb water? Answer is so clear, with the help of root. That's why there is a line given in NCRT, like they have tried to crack a joke. That's why we give water to the soil, to the root, not to the leaf. Do we water the plant by giving water on the leaf? No, right? We water the plant by giving it where? In the soil so that roots can absorb. So obviously, the plant, which part is going to absorb water? Root. We all know it. Now this water which is available for the root, the water which is available for the root is called as which water, you know? Capillary water. It is called as capillary water. There are several kind of water. Okay? All other water will not be taking part in getting absorbed by the root. Capillary water. What do you mean by capillary water? Let's say this is soil particle, this is soil particle. Between the soil particle, the water which is available, na? Between the soil particle, the water which is available, between the soil particles, that is called as capillary water. So they may ask you, which water is available for the plant? Capillary water is available for the plant. The water which is present in between the soil particles. Okay. Capillary water will be absorbed by the root. Next question. This is the first thing you should be knowing. Which water is available for the plant? Second question. How does it get absorbed? Is it absorbed actively? Is it absorbed passively? Answer is, it is absorbed passively. It is absorbed passively, which means you will not require ATP, right? So passively means it is what? It is going to be diffusion. Passive means it is going to be diffusion, right? So water enters into the root by diffusion. Since entry of water is happening, you can say what is happening? It is liquid. You can say what is happening? Osmosis. Yes or no? If the movement of water is happening from higher concentration to lower concentration of water, you can call it as osmosis, right? If liquid is moving. Yes. So how do plants absorb water? It is clear. From the root it is absorbed. But you know, there is a chapter called as Anatomy of Flowering Plant, where we have to learn about the structure of root, stem, leaves and all those things. The internal structure. The internal structure we have to learn. When you will be learning the internal structure, you will see that root is not that simple. There is upper layer, there is middle layers, and then there is inner layer. There are so many layers of tissues which make root. So one by one, the water has to cross all the layer of the root to reach the xylem. It has to reach to the xylem, right? So what all layers are there? Two questions we have got, right? Answer of the two questions. Which water is available? Capillary water. Is it active, passive? Passive. diffusion. Cool? Now I was talking about different layer of the root, right? What are the layers? Same thing you are going to learn in anatomy also. In chapter number 6, right? Chapter number 6. You have to learn this. Here also you have to learn this. Okay? The uppermost is epidermis, then cortex, then endodermis, followed by pericycle. Is it clear? Yes? You have epidermis, cortex, endodermis and pericycle. Epidermis, cortex, endodermis and pericycle. Outermost is epidermis, then cortex, then endodermis, then pericycle. Is it learned? Did you learn it? Now, water will enter into all these cells and it has to finally reach into xylem. It wants to reach to xylem. From xylem, it will be taken up, right? If you remember, I had taught you there are two ways by which water can move into the root. What were those two ways? Do you remember it? Symplast and apoplast. Do you remember? I have taught you this, right? In the previous lectures, we have learned it. Symplast and apoplast. In the beginning, what will happen? Aram se water will enter into the cell wall, intercellular space. This is intercellular space. Aram se cell wall, intercellular space, cell wall. What is this? Dead part of the cells. है ना? Dead part of the cells. If the movement is happening across the dead part, it is apoplast. What is it? Apoplast. Now, from here, badha. From here, there is a problem which is created by endodermis. Endodermis will be like, nah, I will not allow you to enter. I will not allow you to enter. In the cell wall, there is a band. There is a strip. What do you call this? Casparian strip. What do you call this? Casparian strip. Where do you get it? In the endodermis, you get Casparian strip, which is made up of suberin. Which is made up of suberin. Which is made up of suberin. Now, aram se water was coming from apoplast path. But once it reaches to the endodermis will not allow apoplast movement. It will be like, no man, I am not gonna allow you. Who are you? Then what it has to do? It has to cross the plasma membrane. It has to cross the plasma membrane and it will enter into the cytoplasm. So if it crosses the plasma membrane and goes into the cytoplasm, it is the living part of the cell. And if movement is happening through the living part of the cell, you call it as symplast. So from endodermis onwards, endodermis to pericycle, you will have symplast. And finally, it will reach to xylem. Finally, it will reach to xylem. How does it enter into the endodermis? What is that structure which connects the cytoplasm of two cells? Answer it. I have taught this in chapter cell. What is that structure which connects the cytoplasm of two cells? What do you call them? Plasmodesmata. It is written here, right? They have written it here. Plasmodesmata, which connects the cytoplasm of two cells. So how are they going into the endodermis? They are going into the endodermis through plasmodesmata. चलो एक बार फिर से रिवाइज कर लो. Epidermis to cortex. आराम से they are coming by apoplast movement, cell wall and intercellular spaces. Once they reach to endodermis, there is a problem of Casparian strip between the cell wall. It will not allow the water to cross this. So water has only one path to enter into the endodermis, cytoplasm. So it crosses the plasma membrane through the plasmodesmata and reaches the cytoplasm of endodermis. Then it reaches to pericycle. And finally, the water reaches to xylem. Is it clear? Is it clear? Apoplast, symplast. So cortex, after cortex, it goes only in one direction. After cortex, it goes only in one direction. And what is that direction? Symplast. Why? Why? Because of this Casparian strip. Because it will not allow them to go into the dead part of the cell. Got it? This is how apoplast, then symplast movement happens and it reaches to xylem. It reaches to xylem. You can see it again. If these are the cells, what are these? These are the intercellular space. If the movement happens through this apoplast path, if it is crossing the plasma membrane, see, it is crossing the plasma membrane, then it is what? Symplast. This is endodermis. In endodermis, there is Casparian strip. Because of Casparian strip, it can't go for apoplast. It is stopped here only. Apoplast is stopped here only. Now they can only go for what? Symplast. The orange color is showing you symplast. Clear? Yes, after cortex from endodermis, they go for symplast. And they reach to, where did they reach? देखो इसको. Finally, water has reached to the root xylem. Finally, water has reached to the xylem of the root. Now, the next question is, how water is going to go to the upper parts of the plant? ठीक है, it has reached to the xylem. Now, what's next? After this, how is it going to go to the upper parts of the plant? That's the question mark. We need to find out the answer. Let's find out. Water movement to the upper part of the plant. We know all the things. Now we are summarizing things properly. We have learned all the terminologies I have taught you before itself, right? Now we are combining those concepts. Root pressure and what? Cohesion, tension, transpiration, pull model. These two will help in water movement in upper part of the plant. What is root pressure? It is that pressure which is built in the root, which can take the water, which can push the water for a smaller height against the gravity. Remember, na? For a smaller distance, it can take the water up, right? Cohesion, tension, transpiration, pull model. It was given by Dixon. Who gave this? Dixon. So he had given this theory, cohesion, tension, transpiration, pull model, that root pressure can take the water for a smaller distance. After that, it has to go for a long distance, and that happens by the transpiration pull. That happens due to transpiration. The transpiration will create a pull and it will pull the water up. Now, the water moves continuously. It never happens that little amount of water is there, then little gap, then little amount of water is there, gap. No, right? Always it flows continuously. How this continuous flow is happening? That is because of the property of water. The water has three properties. Properties of water: cohesion, adhesion, surface tension. Do you remember it? Cohesion is the force of attraction between same molecule. Adhesion is the force of attraction between water and what? The xylem wall. Surface tension. Since water is in liquid form, Water in the liquid form has more surface tension. Due to all these, they get high tensile strength. What do you mean by high tensile strength? Ability to rise for a long distance against the gravity, because water has to go up, right, against the gravity. So all these provide them that strength to go against gravity. High capillarity. High capillarity matlab ability to rise in a thin tube, like a straw, right? In the straw, how water goes up? Similarly, the ability to rise in a thin tube, that is capillarity. Ability to rise in the xylem. So because of these property of water, they flow continuously. Ascent of xylem sap. What do you mean by ascent of xylem sap? Ascending you have learned, right? Ascending means छोटा से बड़ा. पढ़े हो ना? Ascent of xylem sap means it is going from down to up. Down to up. So the ascent of xylem sap depends on the property of water also. That's why here we have added these two terms. Cohesion, tension. Got it? Yes? So you can now know, as a summary you can learn now, from epidermis goes to cortex, goes to endodermis, goes to pericycle, and finally the water reaches to the xylem. Finally the water reaches to the xylem. By what ways? By symplast and apoplast. Once it reaches to the xylem, root pressure is built, which is a positive pressure, which will take the water for a smaller distance against gravity. Only for a smaller distance. Only for a smaller distance. We have to take the water for a longer distance, right? And the second thing which helps in it is what? Transpiration. The pull which is created by transpiration. The force which is created by transpiration. Is it clear? You know the structure of stomata, right? This is dicot stomata, right? Because guard cell is kidney shape or bean shape, right? This is stoma, opening. The inner wall is what? The inner wall is thick. The inner wall is thick and elastic, right? The inner wall is thick and inelastic, right? That is why it is not moving. The outer wall is what? Thin. The outer wall is thin. The outer wall is thin and elastic. इलास्टिक ना, जैसे रबर बैंड होता है आपका, वो इलास्टिक होता है, राइट? दैट इज इलास्टिक. You stretch it, it comes back to the same position. Similarly, the outer wall is what? Thin and elastic. Water comes. When water comes, it bulges out. When water comes, it bulges out. बाहर चला जाता है, बाहर की तरफ चला जाता है. When water goes out, again it comes back. That's why it is thin and elastic. Inner wall is thick and inelastic, not elastic. Then you can see there are cellulose microfibrils. Cellulose से बना होता है ये, ऐसे ऐसे जो दिख रहा है ना आपको. क्या अरेंजमेंट है इसका? What is the arrangement? Radial arrangement. Radial arrangement है ये, right? So what all things help in the opening of stomata? The radial arrangement of microfibril, pehla. Second, the shape of the guard cell. The inner wall is thick and not elastic. The inner wall is thick and not elastic. The outer wall is thin and elastic. These are the two reasons Why it bulges out? Why it bulges out? Okay. Now the next question is how it bulges out. When does it bulge out? When water enters. When there is entry of water. When there is entry of water into the guard cell. When there is entry of water into the guard cell, it becomes turgid. है ना? This will come outside, bulges out. It will bulge out. And the inner wall, the inner wall will go back. Inner wall will go back and the outer wall will go up. So what will happen? Inner wall going back, outer wall going up. So here there is a gap, right? From this side also same thing will happen. The inner one will go outward. The inner one will go inside, right? It will come this side. And the outer one will go this side. Because of this, what will happen? In the center, you will get a big gap. And this is called as opening of stomata. So opening of stomata happens when the guard cells are turgid. When the guard cells are turgid. Is it clear? Now surrounding the guard cells, what are these called as? Surrounding the guard cells, what are these called as? These are called as? What are these called as? These are called as subsidiary cells. Subsidiary cells. Clear hai? Any doubt? So when does transpiration happen? When the guard cells are turgid. Then stomata open. What can be the next question? When does it close? When does it close? When water will not be there. And if it is not there, what will you say? When guard cells are flaccid. When guard cells are flaccid. Is it clear? So what did we see just now? How stomata opens and closes, right? Opening and closing of stomata. When guard cells are turgid, it opens. When guard cells are flaccid, it closes. Is it clear? Yes? Chalo. You know this, right? In the guard cells, you also have chloroplast. If this is guard cell, you also have chloroplast in the guard cells. All right? You do have some chloroplast in the guard cells. Okay? Please keep this in mind. That's why it is different from subsidiary cells. Subsidiary cells will not have chloroplast. Guard cells will have chloroplast. Clear? So now let us understand about transpiration. Like why exactly does it happen? Let's say like in Hubli, it's not hot, the place where I stay, but maybe in Guwahati, in Bhubaneswar, like Swati and Raj, there the place is hot, right? How is the weather now? Hot or cool? It's little hot, right? So whenever there is summer, what does our humid? Yeah, very good. Exactly, I wanted this answer. So what is happening right now in more humidity? Not in more humidity, actually more summer. If there is more summer, what will happen? More summer. What do you do? What your body does in extreme summer? To relax, your body sweats, right? Sweating happens when it is super hot, right? Similarly, when in the environment, when in the environment, temperature is hot. When does that happen? During daytime? During daytime, जब सूरज अपने चरम सीमा पे है, when sun is glowing, right, like a star always. So sun is shining during the daytime. Temperature is hot, right? If more temperature is there, environment ka water potential will be less. If temperature is more means water is less na. High temperature means water will not be there, evaporation will happen, right? So if temperature is more in the environment, water potential will be less. Now the plant will do what? The plant will also sweat na. What do? You also sweat in summer. Similarly, the plant will also sweat. And for plant, for sweating, what is the term which we use? Transpiration. What's that term which we use? Transpiration. So, water potential is less over here. In the stomata guard cell, water potential will be comparatively high. And then what will happen? From high to low water potential, water will come. From high to low, water will come. But since outside temperature is very high, will this water be in the form of liquid or the water will change into vapor? Think. It will change into what? Vapor. Why? Because the outside environment is hot, extremely hot, है ना? Like Deepika Padukone. Yes. So what happens here? From high water potential to low water potential, the water is coming out. But what happens? It doesn't come out in the form of water. It comes out in the form of vapor. The main idea of transpiration in the plant is actually what? To cool the surface of the leaf. Is it clear? Ha, Raj. Is it clear? Why transpiration concept came in the plant? For cooling the plant. है ना? It is said that it decreases the temperature by 10 to 15 degrees Celsius, you know. It decreases the temperature by 10 to 15 degrees Celsius. That's why in the hot summer, we would love to spend our time under the tree rather than standing in a scorching sunlight, right? We would want to see where is tree, and we will stand under the tree or we will sit under the tree in the daytime. Cool. So the idea of transpiration is clear now. It is actually for what? Cooling the surface. Is it clear? But this creates something big. है ना? Plant is doing it for cooling, but this is doing something very big in the plant, right? Imagine this. Imagine this. This is your stomatal cells, okay, guard cell, and this is environment. Environment has less water potential, right? So what will happen? Comparatively, the guard cell has what? High water potential. So what happens? From high to low, the water comes out, but it comes out in the form of vapor because the temperature is very high. Cool. Now think wisely. The moment in the guard cell, the water came outside, in the guard cell, what happened to the water potential? It was high. But now what has happened? Since you have taken out water, tell me what might have happened. The water potential will go low or it will become high. I have taken out water from the guard cell. My dear, to the outside. If I have taken water outside, what is the situation now over here? Compare this and compare this. I have taken out water. The moment I take out water from guard cell, if you do the comparison, this subsidiary cell around the guard cell, Subsidiary cells will have more water potential. Yes or no? Think. If you compare, water you took out, na? You took out the water from here. So automatically what will happen? The water potential became less here. It will demand for the water. Give me water. Think wisely. Again, this gave water to this. What happened to subsidiary cells? Loss of water happened, na? Again, water potential became less. Again, it will say, give me water, no, to this cell. Now, this cell will give water. Now, it will say, I gave water to him. You give me, no, little. Then it will give water to this. Finally, this will keep on happening. And this will reach to where? This will reach to where? Xylem. And this is going to create what? A force. This is going to create a force which is done by transpiration, and this is called as transpiration pull. किसी को कोई शक, कोई doubt? What is it? See, it gave water to environment when it was extremely hot. Now it continuously wants water, no? It wants water, then only it will give water to environment, right? Only when guard cell has water, then only it can give water, no? The moment it gives water to the environment, now there is a scarcity of water in the guard cell. It will take water from subsidiary. Subsidiary will take water from the surrounding cells. Surrounding cell will take the water from surrounding cell. Finally, it will create a big pull, big force from the xylem. The water will start to move continuously. Is it clear? This is your transpiration pull theory. कोई doubt है? Is it understood? Tell yes, no. This is how transpiration is creating a pull. The transpiration pull can take the water for how much distance high? It can take the water for 130 meters. For 130 meters, you can take the water up by this transpiration pull. 1 मीटर पता है ना कितना होता है? पहले जमाने में लोग कपड़ा खरीदते थे एंड वो स्टिच कराते थे शर्ट कुर्ता, तो 1 मीटर वाला स्केल होता था ना, ब्लैक कलर का रॉड, 1 मीटर उतना होता है, राइट? सोच लो 130 मीटर्स कितना होता है. तो दिस ट्रांसपिरेशन हैज दैट मच पावर, उतना फोर्स है उसके पास दैट आप पानी को कितना डिस्टेंस ले जा सकते हो? 130 मीटर्स तक लेकर जा सकते हो. इज इट क्लियर? यस. नाउ आवर नेक्स्ट टॉपिक इज गोइंग टू बी व्हाट? ट्रांसपिरेशन एंड फोटोसिंथेसिस अ कॉम्प्रोमाइज. क्या है वो सोचना, पढ़ना एक बार एनसीईआरटी, उसके बाद हम कल इसको डिस्कस करेंगे. इसके साथ साथ प्रेशर फ्लो हाइपोथेसिस डिस्कस करेंगे. तो यहां तक पूरा पढ़ लो. कोई भी डाउट होगा कल की क्लास में पूछेंगे. आई विल टेल यू द टाइमिंग्स. ठीक है, आपको टाइमिंग्स में बता दूंगी, अकॉर्डिंग टू दैट आप आ जाना. कूल. दैट्स ऑल फॉर टुडे. थैंक यू सो मच.